Hello Admirals, and welcome back to my channel where I talk to you about the tabletop game Battlefleet Gothic, which is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So in a bunch of my previous videos I've mentioned and alluded to orders. They are incredibly important in the game of Battlefleet Gothic, and they allow you to do certain things with your ships. So you as the Admiral are commanding your fleets of ships, and you have a number of special orders available to you to improve their shooting, or tell them to batten down the hatches and brace for impact, or just reload their ordnance and get those fighters and bomber squadrons back out onto the field of battle, or even be able to maneuver better. So in this video, it's going to be a short video this time, but I'm just going to talk through several of these special orders and what they kind of mean in the game. So what are the special orders that your ships can do? Well, there are 6 special orders that you can complete. There's navigation orders, and there's 3 of those, and then there's combat orders, and there's 3 of those. And what happens is at the beginning of your turn, before you move, shoot, or anything with any of your ships, you make a decision on whether you would like to do any of these orders, with the exception of brace for impact, but I'll come back to that in a second. And essentially, if you want to do one of these orders, you need to pass a leadership test with that particular ship you want to do that order on, and it's subject to a couple of modifiers depending on what they are. But you essentially, if your enemy is on one of these special orders, then you get a +1 to your leadership roll, or if you have blast markers, you get a -1 to that in contact with your ship. So you just need to take that into consideration when you're making these special order decisions. But essentially, you select the ship that you want to put the order on, and you, with that leadership on that particular ship, you roll 2d6 as per up here and check to see if it passes or fails. If it passes, then the ship can go on this order. If it fails, then it can't obviously go on the order. And the critical thing with that is if you fail one of these 5, not this one, but these 5, at any point, so if you pass 1 or fail 1, or pass 2 and then fail 1, then you can't make any more orders that turn. It's to simulate sort of a breakdown in communication between your ships. So the moment you fail a leadership test when trying to do one of these orders, that's it, no more. You have got potential, if you've bought them with your admirals, rerolls, but that's a fleet-specific sort of thing on whether you've bought it. But essentially, a good rule of thumb, if you roll 2d6 and you fail, then you can't make any more command checks that turn, with the exception of brace for impact. So, what are they? So, the navigational orders are all head full, burn retros, and continued heading, and the combat orders are lock on, reload ordnance, and brace for impact. Now, all ahead full lets you basically speed up your ship. Burn retros lets you stop the ship. Come to heading lets you turn a second time on your ship. Sometimes you may need to just get round the back potentially of a ship, or try and do that, round the planet or asteroid field better. Lock on improves your shooting, and so any shooting that you make, you can try, and you miss, you can try again. I guess you re-roll misses. Reload ordnance is exactly how it sounds, and really only dependent upon whether your ship that you're trying to try and do the order on has ordnance. So if it has torpedoes and bombers, then you're going to be wanting to reload your ordnance to be able to maintain that ordnance pressure on the board. And brace for impact is a little bit different. So this isn't selected at the beginning of your turn like the others. This is selected when one of your ships is taking enemy fire and you want to batten down the hatches. And you will then, if you succeed in that leadership role, you can take it at any time when you're being fired upon. It gives you a 4+ save against any hits to your hull. So a really useful one. It's all of these are incredibly useful for various reasons, and are all specific. But sometimes you just need to speed up and get across the board. Sometimes you just want to slow your ship to a crawl because you don't want to run into those torpedoes that are sitting there. Sometimes you need to move around better to get a better maneuvering and fighting arc on your ship's enemy sort of thing. So when you really need to kill something, you want to go lock on and make sure you really do re-roll those hits, And reload ordnance is critical for your carriers and things like that. And one of the major tactics I find is very useful is if you can prevent carriers from reloading ordnance, then you're onto a really good tactical victory there. And brace for impact. Well, you want to keep your ships alive, right? Very, very useful if you know that your enemy is going to be firing multiple ships into one of yours, so you want to try and keep it alive as long as you possibly can. And that's special orders. When and how you select these are critical to your victories, essentially. So good luck, admirals. So let's go into a little bit more detail of what actually each order is for the navigation and combat. So for all that full, if you pass your leadership test, you're then rolling 4d6, and that is added to your movement, and that's how fast you can move your ship. But there's always a downside to any of these orders, so it means you can't turn that ship anymore, and your weapons are reduced to half effect. So if you have a weapons battery of 10, say, it's down to 5, and the ship can't turn, but potentially can move, very, very quickly across the board. Burn metros is very similar, but opposite in many respects. It allows you to basically stop the ship dead and not move, and you still can make a turn, but also reduces your weapons to half effect. But sometimes you just want to stop your ship. Maybe you don't want to go into the asteroids, for example, or get hit by those torpedoes. Come to new heading. It allows you to do basically your normal move, but it allows you to turn twice. So you can move, turn, move, and turn again, which really does allow you to get the maneuverability of even a slow ship coming along. But again, your weapons are half. Now, lock-on is really important. It allows you. It doesn't worry about speed at all. It doesn't affect your movement, but it does affect your turn. So if you go lock-on, you can't turn the ship. Once you can move it, but you can't turn it. And what it does, it allows you any misses. You can re-roll your lances and weapons battery strikes. So if you roll, on the table, 4 lances and you miss twice, well, you can roll again to see if you hit. And reload ordnance, this allows you basically to move the ship as usual, turn and all that sort of stuff. And it doesn't affect your weapons either if you have weapons or lances on it. But it does then allow you to put more ordnance out. So you get to your fighters and your bombers and your torpedo tubes have been reloaded. You've got your fighters back refueled and ready to go. And then brace for impact, like I said earlier, gives you a 4+ save on any incoming fire. So that's special orders, admirals. They're incredibly important tactical aspects of the game that you really want to think hard about when you are maneuvering your ships, firing your ships. What are you trying to achieve? Do you really need to go fast, or do you really need to slow down, or do you really need to kill something with lock-on? And choosing when to brace is important as well, because critically you can only do one order on a ship any one time. So a ship can't do multiple special orders. It's trying to do one thing, and that is all it can do. So choosing between reloading your ordnance or potentially bracing for impact later is a critical part of the game for you to think on when you're actually doing those sorts of decisions. So I hope you enjoyed the video, everyone. I think the next one's going to be probably General Fleet Tactics. I think that's what most people are asking me to do. So I'll do a General Fleet Tactics video, I think, coming up next, kind of talking about the general that's applicable to most fleets, all fleets, as well as then sort of more specific ones generally for each of the official fleets. For now, we can have a look at unofficial fleets in the future. Thank you very much, admirals. Hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers.